Alright, what's up everybody? It's Lyds, and we're back for some more Thronebreaker, and we just, of course, completed the Battle of Gatberg. Another fun encounter. I feel like every time we've had one of these big battles against the Nilfgaardians, those have consistently ranked up there as some of my favorite fights thus far. Manticore probably still being number one, but probably 2 and 3 after that will be the other big fights against the Nilfgaardians. Let's see, we can chat, I suppose, with these people here about the aftermath. I'm not sure if we've done that yet.
We haven't any reason to rejoice, friend. Blackclads will be back. Just you wait and see.
I mean, you may be right.
Grim prospect. They'll either hack us into pieces, or drag us off to labor in chains.
Hopefully not.
Grim prospect.
Okay. So,
They'll either hack us into pieces,
as for what we have planned for today, what I was thinking was we have this battle over here. We have this golden chest over here. I was thinking we probably start off with those, and then depending on how quickly we go through those, we may finally double back for this battle over here. And again, not really sure how many upgrades we've made since then. It may just be that, we needed a little bit of time to clear our heads, come at it with a new perspective, and hopefully, well, have a little more success on our second attempt there. But that's the plan, at least. So let us see what exactly we have over here. It looks like kind of almost like a ghost of sorts. I'm not sure if that's what this encounter is going to be. I mean, whatever this thing is, it's flying. I think it's a ghost of some variety. Can we loot this first? I imagine we already checked to see if we could afford any upgrades after our previous battle. I guess as we need to have more gold to do anything significant, even if we're over 1,000 wood. So, let's just hop straight into this. What could possibly go wrong? Many, many things, I'm sure. Let's see. In darkness, all of Edirn burned. Cities, villages, forests. When the flames eventually died out, the kingdom choked on a black, dense smoke that blotted out the sun. It became dark, so dark, that beasts which once only prowled at night, now too hunted during the day, including night wraiths, or at least that's what this card is in multiplayer Gwent. Let's see, it's a standard battle, so that means no special rule sets. We'll have, presumably, 3 rounds, and strange as it sounds, we don't have very many of those, so we'll see how this fares in this encounter. I mean, I imagine they're still going to have some special cards that are going to make this a little out of the ordinary. Let's see. It is a Night Wraith. Every 3 turns on turn start, haunt the highest non-haunted enemy and move it to the other row. I have no idea what that means. Every turn on turn start, damage all haunted units by 1. Is that all the haunt does? It's just a way of, almost like a mark, similar to what we have on some of our cards. That's a way of, designating which cards will potentially take damage, such as with the Stray's Cavalry. So, really no idea what to expect here, as is often the case the first time we do any of these encounters, so pretty much just gonna guess as to what we're gonna want, and usually, when it comes to choosing those types of things, we opt for damage, because usually there's some special cards we want to try to get rid of, rather than just prioritize and putting up as many points on our side as possible. I mean, maybe a little bit less so the case if we're just doing an outright battle, but I think that means things like the Lyria and Scytheman could potentially be worth swapping out. Stray's Cavalry, I mean, yeah, in a long round could be good. But, let's see. The Alchemist is risky, because we really only benefit from this if... I assumed we could only use it on our opponent, but I guess we could use it on ourselves, which, of course, we have more control over. I was gonna say, it's pretty high risk because it only really works if our opponent has a really strong card next to a really weak card, and then we make them both have really weak power. But, we say, does Gascon count as a boss when we play him? No, I don't think so. He did, of course, the very first time we encountered him, but he was technically an opponent, even though he was shown up on our side in that case. But, no, I think we could still target him. Restraint is not going to matter there. So that would potentially be a thing, or maybe even use the Lyria and Scytheman for that, to get them all boosted up and then make someone else as big as the Lyria and Scytheman. So, I don't know. Let's try something like this. We got a little bit of boosting. We've got probably more damage than we have boosting. I do like setting rows on fire, so this is probably the biggest risk, but we'll go for it. Alright, and we go first as well. That makes it that much harder to know how ought we set things up here? I mean, maybe we start by setting a row on fire, because otherwise, I mean, the Scytheman normally would be a card we want to play early, so we get as much out of the loyal ability as possible. I mean, maybe we could do that. I was going to say, we're probably not going to use our leader ability here, because we have nothing to target. I don't think we can use it, if we wanted to. So yeah, why don't we go Lyria and Scytheman first? We'll see if they destroy it. But if not, we might even play our other Scytheman on our next turn, boost them both when we use our leader ability. Let's see. What is the deal here? Melororn. Deploy Haunt target unit for 9 turns. It's the Scytheman. Okay, and it does have the mark there and says Haunted on it. Whenever the Haunted unit takes damage, damage it by an additional 2. And their ability was every 3 turns on turn start, haunt the highest non-haunted enemy and move it to the other row. So it seems like they're going to deal a ton of damage to us. It seems like they're going to be a high damage deck. So obviously the Scytheman is going to, at least in theory, in a vacuum, would normally be one of our biggest cards. So should be able to take a lot of hits before it actually gets destroyed, but it does mean they're going to get a lot of value out of that haunt. They're going to get a ton of damage out of it. So, I mean, I think we just stick with our plan here. Don't love using our leader ability when there's only one target that it's going to hit, but as we were saying, we wanted to try do it as quickly as possible, maximize the boosting on the Scytheman, and I mean, I said this guy was going to last a long time. They deal a lot of damage to haunted units. It was 10 power, now it's all the way down to 4 already. So, oh boy. Let's see, what is the counter on this? Oh, it just does it. It can do this 8 times. Then once you have done it 8 times, it just expires. I mean, presumably, we'd like to get rid of you before you get the chance to do all that stuff. Because it does seem like shutting down the haunt is going to be the big way that we succeed in this encounter, perhaps. So I think that means we're marking you next, or we're setting a row on fire. See, the row on fire is 33% chance of damaging you by 2, which, on average, against one enemy, is less damage than the 1 per turn, right? Because this is 0.67, or 0.66, repeating, of course, damage per turn on average, whereas this is 1. So, of course, there is some variability to that, because we don't know definitively what's going to happen with the fire, but I think in the interest of trying to take this guy out as quickly as possible. Let's see. Sensing a theme here with their cards. Lots of ghosts. 3 turns on turn start, haunt and damage an enemy by 1 on the first turn, then increase the damage by 1 each. Oh my goodness! So much damage! So much damage, wow. Okay, tell you what I'm thinking. What I'm thinking is, of course, this is a normal battle. So that means it's going to take 3 rounds, or at least, best 2 out of 3. And it seems like they have a really strong long round here, because all these cards, the longer they stay out there, the more damage they will deal, and it will definitely add up. So what I'm wondering is, can we either make round 1 really long, so we make round 2 and round 3 really short and make their cards less effective, or do we do the opposite, make round 1 really short and make round 2, and try to win on a short round 1, and then, have them maybe use all their cards in round 2 and then go back to a short round 3 and try to win round 1 and round 3 in that situation. I mean, let's see. They are moving some cards, which does power up Gascon. So that's not a terrible thing. We do get some benefit out of that. Ooh. We also... Oh, hold on. Its power equal to the unit on its left. Darn it! They knew! Only we could switch these. This is unfortunate. Okay. In which case... Actually, Stray Slinger would be able to destroy you at the end of their next turn, between the 2 damage from you and the 1 damage from the mark. Guess we go for that. Obviously, you'd like to get the cavalry out there as quickly as possible, but that might be a card we save for a future round. And then again, more movement means more power for Gascon. So that's good. But there's the damage from the Haunt. It's big. It adds up. And it keeps on coming. Okay. So, I mean, got a 7-point lead here. We do have some cards that benefit from long rounds for sure. As we were saying, Stray's Cavalry, even not Decoy, but Lyria and Horn, because the more units that are out there, the more boosting we're getting, the more damage we're dealing. So, I mean, it's a tough choice to make. How long do we want the rounds to be to try to balance out getting more benefit than our opponent, or at least minimizing the effectiveness of our opponent's cards? Let's see, what is the deal with the Archospores? Every turn on turn end, damage a random enemy by 1. So these also have damage. Death Wish, summon this unit from your graveyard and weaken it by 4. So we don't really want to destroy that, though? Ooh. Yikes. Yikes. Okay. In that case, I mean, if we're trying to play it out in this round, you know, make this a long round, then we would go with either Stray's Cavalry or a Bomber. Those are our best long-term sources of damage. I don't know. I'm not sure if we want this to be a long round, but we'll give it a shot. Let's mark another unit that has a lot of power and another unit that we'd like to get rid of as quickly as possible. They pass. Ooh. Interesting. Very interesting. Okay, so we have now played one more card than them, which normally means don't play anymore. Except, oh, I forget. It's been, again, so infrequently do we actually have 3-round matches, but at least in multiplayer Gwent, normally you would be fine playing until you have 4 cards remaining in your hand in round 1, even if it means you played more cards than your opponent, because what you can still do is you can quote-unquote dry pass in round 2. Play 0 cards is what that means. And because you draw 3 cards in between each round, by the time round 3 starts, you'll be back up to the maximum number of cards, and it doesn't matter that you invested more in round 1. So, they passed early, and assuming we do draw 3 cards still in between rounds, which I think is still the case in Thronebreaker, then we should be fine to go one more here, and that would, of course, be enough for us to win this one. So, at least in round 1. We don't need much here, unless, just verify, are they still getting the damage out of the Haunt even after they have passed? We do have one unit that is haunted. 3 turns on turn start. Haunt and damage an enemy unit by 1 on the first turn, then increase damage by 1 each following. What? I did not remember that the damage went up. Oh my goodness. So this Scytheman is going to get demolished by both of these cards, assuming that it does still deal damage, which I think even if after they've passed, it should still do that, because they are still technically having a turn. They're just doing nothing on their turn. That makes me nervous. Oh man. Because I would have said we could play one more card as long as we have enough points to actually pass them on this turn, but I'm not exactly sure that we do unless we play Gascon. He is, of course, our biggest card, and one that we would very much like to save for a future round. This is a long-term card we'd like to save as well. I think maybe Lyria and Horn. It's what, worth 6 damage and 8 boost? I mean, that is a lot. That is definitely enough, I would think. I think we do this. We play it safe. We do have some damage coming from the marks that the slingers have, or the cavalry have, but just to play it safe, not 100% sure. Let's do that. I think we should be fine now. Yeah, they did still... I think they still damaged our Scytheman? Not entirely sure, to tell you the truth, because it actually went up in power. But either way, we'll take the round 1 win. And the plan is to, again, quote-unquote, dry pass here. And we do draw 3 cards, so that is huge. That was... Our entire strategy was relying on that. So let's see. We can redraw some cards if needed. We now certainly have a better sense as to what to expect from our opponent. So they have a ton of damage is basically the name of the game for them. So playing a card on their side of the board where it is not going to get damaged, and then a few turns later have it come back to our side, is an intriguing idea. That could be a way to circumvent some of that damage, at least temporarily. I like that a lot. So I think Stray's Infiltrators could be a very nice pickup. As I was saying before, the Alchemist, pretty risky. We saw it wasn't really going to work in round 1. So I think we would prefer to get rid of them if we can. And this looks much better to me. So again, we're not going to play anything in this round. We're just trying to optimize our hand for round 3. So we are going to pass. And again, we can do that because we won round 1. And since it's best 2 out of 3, it doesn't matter that they can win round 2 here. And we'll get out their Barghest. So they've sacrificed that. We'll take a look at what more specifically that card can do once we finish up with our hand here. Ooh, how do we feel about the Scythemen? They took the hits for us in round 1. One of them did get destroyed, the second one did not. But that was largely just because it was a relatively short round. They do, in theory, have the ability to become one of our biggest cards. Still not sure that I love it, because not only do they have a lot of damage, they specifically have damage that builds up over time until a target gets destroyed. So if we have really big targets, like the Scythemen, who have, 10, 15 points, that means, what would normally start out as just a 1 damage per turn that they're dealing. We give them the chance to build that up to a 2, 3, 4 damage per turn, and that becomes a much bigger factor. So I think we'd prefer to go wide, quote unquote, meaning that we have lots of small units out there, rather than going tall, meaning having a few big units out there, like the Scythemen. Not really sure we have many ways to go wide with this deck, but at least we have a way to kind of circumvent doing that with the Infiltrators. Technically, they are tall as well, but we're at least playing them on their side of the board for a little while. Let's get rid of the Alchemist. I like the Cavalry. I think we get rid of at least one Scytheman. Slingers, again, just to power up Gascon and to hopefully take out some of their damaging units as quickly as we can. We have an obvious target for decoy. I mean, we could do it with Stray Slingers. That way we can get their deployability again for some more damage, some more movement to power up Gascon. Probably the play. I still don't think that's a huge benefit. Decoy may be a card that we are not as keen on using after we got dropped off in Edirn and half our entire army abandoned us. So we'll stick with it for now, but I think we still get rid of the Scytheman. And Bomber I like. Let's see. So yeah, Barghest was the card that they threw away in round 2. So whenever a Haunt timer expires, spawn a base copy of Self. Oh. So these will duplicate. Here's a perfect example of wide, where they get a bunch of different units out on the board. And yeah, so probably a good thing that they got rid of one of those in round 2, because it sounds like this card could be a problem. Sounds like, I mean, as with all of their other cards, we really want to get rid of it as quickly as possible. And what I'm wondering is, Stray's Infiltrator, after 2 turns, on turn start, boosts up by the power of the unit to the right, then move to the opposite side. So if we were to play it next to the Barghest, then it would become a 13 after a couple of turns, and at least for a little while, they would not have any units to target with their Haunt. That is, I think, the biggest thing, is the longer we can delay their Haunt abilities, the better. So I think we go with that, even though we potentially might be able to, if we were to wait, get Strays to get boosted by a slightly bigger unit. I think this is still a bigger benefit. I would prefer if they played their units that actually apply Haunt, rather than just continue to play those Barghests, because that is smart of them to wait to play their Haunt units until we actually have units to Haunt. But let's see. The other things we'd like to do would be set of Row on Fire. We don't want to do that to our own Stray's Infiltrator, of course. We don't want to destroy it. So we might wait a little bit for that. Or maybe we do a Stray's Cavalry first. I mean, The other thing we would do would be play the other Strays Infiltrator. As I was saying, want to try to play them early and make it so that our opponent doesn't have anyone to haunt. I think we go for it. I still wish that they did not have as many bar guests. So I'm hoping now that they are forced to play something that haunts, although now they do actually have a target for it. Yep. We had just one more turn before we needed to play a unit on our side. That would have been fantastic. Maybe, I don't know, I guess we could have thrown away Decoy and done absolutely nothing with it, just for the sake of not having units on our side. We also did not use our leader ability, which I admittedly have done too much, forgotten to use it too much. But we obviously do have a couple of 10 power units here. We'll definitely target those. As for other stuffs, we can move them, but that's not as time sensitive as setting a row on fire or marking someone. Those are things that get stronger the longer we have. Whereas these do 6 damage whenever we play them. We can do them late. So let's... I think we go cavalry first.
The chase is on!
And we should... Who do we want to get rid of first? In theory, we don't have enough turns for this mark alone to get rid of any of these units. But combined with our other damage, we may have enough. So, I guess we hit you. You know, it's get rid of units that give the extra damage with the haunt, or do you get rid of units that duplicate themselves with the haunt? Well, that's... I think the Wraith, based on what we were seeing before, looks like it might be the most dangerous card. Because that is a feedback loop of sorts, where it makes their haunt more powerful, which by extension creates, or makes every other card that they have more powerful. So I think we probably mark you, and then we're going to set this row on fire after that. I think that's probably what we want to go with. Oh, we have... You're really back already? What? That was fast. Huh? We do actually have a couple of units on the same amount of power. Did I say we were going to use our leader ability and then proceed to forget to use our leader ability? I did, didn't I? That must have been it. Oh no, Lids. Hopefully it's still enough. We'll see. Okay, so now what we'll do is we want to set both rows on fire. Let's see. There are more units in this row. This unit has, or this row has the unit that we probably would want to prioritize getting rid of first. So, I think we probably still do this. But we'll do this row next. There's damage from the haunt. Okay, so now we want to question, do we go with the Slinger here? Because although it does not have the same long-term value as setting another row on fire as quickly as possible does, we have an immediate way of getting rid of this bar guest. Is this haunt going to expire? Is it going to take out this Stray's cavalry? It's going to be close. It's hard to tell because the Wraith makes it so that haunt's damage gets increased, and so I'm not entirely sure what number it's on right now. But I think we still go for setting the row on fire. I think we still do that. We hope this does not get destroyed yet. Not quite. Okay, that's fine. That means this Vargas should get destroyed before it gets a chance to actually multiply. Should be an important factor. Okay, and actually, at this point, this Wraith has already run out of time to use all of its abilities, so it's not that special anymore, whereas this one is. So let's see. If we go with the Slinger now, that is definitely what we're going to want to do. The question is just, which targets do we want? Because we can get rid of some people, and I think this cavalry is going to get destroyed by the Haunt at the end of this turn. So Is this on all haunted targets? Let's see. For 3 turns, it turns out haunt and damage an enemy unit. That would suggest singular, but I mean, this was already haunted before you came out, so I'm not really sure. It's probably you. Like, is this technically receiving a haunt from you? In which case, I mean, either way, this is going to destroy it. This would also destroy... Yeah, either way, this card is getting destroyed. So, I mean... Fire at the start of their turn? Turn start. So it is theoretically possible that if we were to damage you, the Slinger, we might be able to destroy you with fire. It's not guaranteed by any means, but I think we just go for the maximizing the damage. Play you, and because if you do get hit by fire, then that means we did 1 overkill damage. Let's just hit units that definitely will take 2 damage. Lived? What? Okay. I clearly am not fully understanding how the damage on Haunt gets calculated, but that's fine, I suppose. Okay, so once again, we're going to play a Stray Slinger here, and again, this would be the perfect amount of damage if we hit you and you also got hit by fire. That would be just enough to get rid of you, so I'm thinking we hit you. Again, we could definitely get rid of you. Might be worth doing, just guarantee that it goes away. Again, it's a question of, do you do the overkill damage where there was always the chance that fire could have destroyed it anyway? Yes. Yes, we get rid of it. Probably should hit you. Gascon is, of course, our big finisher, but before we play him, we're going to decoy and replay a Slinger. And we do have a lead right now, so that's an encouraging sign. But we'll see if they have any big cards to finish things off. Another Arcaspore. Let's see, so it's decoy, and we ideally like to decoy one that has less power, but they are both on 6. I mean, I suppose we could have decoyed cards that had Haunt, and then replayed them, and they should have lost Haunt in the process, but we also have our leader ability back. They have a couple of cards with 6 power, so we can definitely hit those. That should be the plan here, I think. And we certainly made some misplays, but at least at the moment, it's not looking bad. It's not looking that bad. So I'm not sure we've seen a Noon Wraith yet. Is that their big finisher? Well, I mean, we destroyed almost everything else. And we are still in the lead here, so things are looking good. Refresh all haunt durations, then boost up by 3 for each haunted unit. So that was good that we basically got rid of all the haunted units. So that was not nearly as powerful as it might have otherwise been. We also don't have enough units to move with this. What we can do, we can move you two, and I believe we can move you as well. That way we avoid having to damage ourselves. We'll still take a little bit of damage from the Haunt. They'll take some damage from the Fire. We'll move you, play Gascon, and it is definitely enough. Far from perfect. Once again, I keep on forgetting to use our leader ability, but even with that, still pretty convincing victory. So that's good to see, and what exactly do we get from this? It really looks like we were just looting this rock. Had me quite confused. Not sure what the deal was. Also, Haunted Shack? Milady, the cottage is abandoned, save for the man hanging under the roof. Oh, lovely. I believe he should be cut down and buried, but our soldiers are hesitant to carry out the task. They claim touching the corpse of a man who's taken his own life can bring bad luck. We can get coins and lose morale, or we can say no thanks and have nothing happen. How much do we care about morale? Because, oh, actually, bear in mind, we do have one of those shrines back a little ways further that we passed and didn't feel like we needed at the time. So we could use that to improve our morale. But, I mean, 26 coins just looks like nothing. Just looks like, really? You know, is that any benefit at all? Practically, no benefit at all, because, I mean, what's the difference? what are you going to be able to buy with 26 additional coins, right? But then again, as we've said many times before, resources are hard to come by in this area, so maybe you just take all the chances you can get, and especially because we have that shrine, we're not as against lowering our morale here, so I guess we do it. I was definitely reluctant at first, but given the potential here to get a little bit more coins and just bring our morale back up, shouldn't be too bad. We also get a letter. Let's see. I assume we would have missed this if we had not checked this out. Council has decided to yield Gatberg without conflict. As we could not repel the enemy, this proved the reasonable and safe decision. I, however, voted against the resolution. I was the only one to do so. I do not agree with it. I do not agree with cowardice and collaboration. I do not agree with treason. I never will. Honorable. Honestly, honorable. The one person who decided not to side with the Nilfgaardians, not to, what words did you use? Yield without conflict, repel the enemy. I mean, as we saw, everyone in Gatberg, everyone that we saw previously, was, well, just chilling with the Nilfgaardians, helping them out. Didn't seem to care that they were the enemy. So, obviously, did not meet the best of fates, but at the end of the day, can still respect at least his decision to not side with the Nilfgaardians. And this, of course, is our golden chest that we saw from across the river. What do we have here? Ooh. Fancy schmancy. Congratulations, you can use this avatar border in the Gwent multiplayer card game. Epic loot found indeed. Let us claim it. Let us claim it. Alright, but with that being said, I think this is probably a good place for us to wrap up here. We successfully took down that Spectre, even though at times, yeah, we definitely made a few misplays, but even at the end of the day, we still won by, what was it, like 50 points or something around those lines? So that's an encouraging sign, and hopefully a good sign of what might be to come if we are to head back over to that previous fight that we were checking out previously that we, well, did not fare so well at the first time we attempted it. But either way, I'll catch you guys next time.